is Wednesday, June 3rd, and we are about to get into Summer House Season 10, Episode 18, Reunion Part 2. I just had to stop watching this really addictive true crime show called The Crimes That Shook Australia. It's, of course, really dark, but I got hooked on it because I don't know these stories. So if you have Prime, check it out. No, I'm not sponsored by Prime, so don't hate at me. Anyways, so, okay, the very first thing that I have written down about the reunion part 2, also, I was going to say thank you to anyone who lives in Vancouver or who, even people from San Francisco were there. They didn't come just for that, but it was cool to meet people from the States at the party last night. Lots more people came out to this watch party that I was the host of, and it was really, really fun, and I got to talk to many more people that I hadn't met the week before. And that's great, and I'm dying to see the third part of the reunion next Tuesday, so thanks to anyone who attended or supported. Anyway, so I wrote, West, you are a pathy, so I'm assuming that's short form for pathological liar. Love it, Lindsay. I don't know, to me, she coined it, because I've never heard someone say that before. Yes, I will be stealing it and using it. And I'm sure many people will as well. So I'm like, I wonder if she's copyrighted it the same way that high body count hair Brittany, even though it was used against her as an insult, how she has now copyrighted that saying. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, so West is, I think, a pathological liar. And like Lindsay saying she thinks he's a pathy and she believes nothing, I feel the exact same way. KJ, yeah, just I relate to KJ's personality. I think I feel things very deeply, and when people betray my trust, it really, really makes me so sad and genuinely scared. That is the thing that will scare me the most with people, is if I see they're capable of lying to my face, it's just something that's just a deal breaker for me, because I just don't know what else are you capable of if you do this, unless it's like, I don't know, there could be some life or death situation. But yeah, they're just so... It's just scary. So KJ explains again the connection to his dad. He's triggered by West because of how KJ's own dad was and how that hurt his mom and his family so much. So he can't stand what West is doing. He says his dad is one of those people who can charm people, but he acts, and he can act like he has it together, but it's not real. So again, very what West does. And KJ brought up, which I thought took courage, he said the race convo that West was a witness to, it was a serious thing, and I don't like to see Ciara being treated the way she's being treated right now. Moving forward, he was open to talking, and again, I'm such a grudge holder. I don't know if I could be as open as KJ was. I thought he was being very nice by saying that he does want to talk to West, but that it will take time, because of course it should take time, because it's such a huge, scary betrayal. And then Ciara, they were showing that West very much so understands, or not that he understands, but that he appears to not care that Ciara has to endure something that, now that there's other black castmates, sometimes there's been other different people of color, but that they have to experience due to the racism, in addition just to the normal hate that you experience online when you're on a reality TV show. So then also Ciara was saying, I actually don't want to be friends if we're not talking about the political climate in this world, and I feel the exact same way. Yeah, so again, West, now we know that it's all just very performative, and it's all just about what works for him, what doesn't. He doesn't care. Like, he didn't, what Ciara shared about how the fact that she opened up to West, even if he heard that conversation, it would still be so weird if he got with Amanda, but he didn't also try to rope Ciara back in this summer, the part that shows that he really is sociopathic. Ooh, it looks so cool outside right now, because it looks like it's going to be like a big rainstorm, and I hope it is. And so, yeah, he didn't have to try to rope Ciara back in this summer, because you see, again, he was having that bond with Amanda already, so there's so many levels that show, but you could have minimized harm in so many ways, because you were already clearly starting to feel Amanda. So if you knew immediately you didn't want to be Ciara's boyfriend, all this stuff, why did you do that again? And then that's why it's so annoying that Meija Barbie on West podcast, I think it's called Show Me Something. Yes, it is. That, because I was listening to it for this information, and just saying, did you get to tell Ciara that you two were never dating? And it's just like, did you watch the show? And what I'll also point out is that on a totally different episode, she was asking West if she could come for a weekend and stay at the house, and he just did not in any way engage with what she was saying, just didn't acknowledge it, just kept it moving, because you can tell, yeah, right, like, you're called Meija Barbie, you fit not the image that he's going to be willing to be. He doesn't care about you being Republican or that if you're racist or if you don't. He doesn't care about any values or ethics, but he doesn't want to be disliked. So no, he's not going to bring Mega Barbie into Summer House, which is a liberal audience and a liberal group of people, I think, for the most part. So there was all of that. Okay, so, and Ciara says, Amanda, West, I think you guys hear buzzwords, and that's all that you repeated back with the whole, I hear you, I see you. And they're the reason why people who say, I see you, are laughed at, because, yeah, like most people, I'm trying to think, I don't know people who have said that exactly, but I've had people say the way that Amanda was saying it to Ciara, those kind of things, where you're just like, you're saying something and they're intending it to be such a compliment, but a part of you is just like, okay, is it real? And then you feel so bad because you're like, I don't want to be such a hater that I'm not fully accepting this, but I also kind of feel like a fool accepting this apparent deep compliment from the person because they maybe are really shady. So Amanda, like, presenting in a very narcissistic way still, she says, this has hurt me a lot. Now, I think from Amanda's, in her head, she believes sharing this is going to show that she does care about Ciara, that the loss of this friendship and the conflict and how much Ciara hates her right now, that it is causing her a lot of pain. But because Amanda has not apologized yet and said, like, Ciara, I love you so much, I'm so sorry for hurting you, and yes, it is true, my insecurity has greatly played into this, and I also want to believe West and I have a connection, but the level of deceit that I've displayed towards you is unforgivable. But even though it's unforgivable, I just want you to know that I am sorry. That's one thing Amanda could say if she really wanted to apologize. But as we saw, she said F off to Ciara within a few minutes of what we saw edited as the first part of the reunion. So there's been so much continuing disrespect. And that's why it's annoying where Kyle's saying to Ciara, oh, you're being too harsh at the end of the first part of the reunion. But then, oh, did you say to Amanda when Amanda said to Ciara, when you said F off, why don't you tell your wife to keep her trap shut then and say that's too harsh? Because Ciara didn't just immediately say that, but she was just reading Amanda based on what Amanda always, exactly, Ciara said historically Amanda's had low self-confidence. That's a fact. She's not the type of person. This is what I do love about Ciara, and this is how we're hoping Amanda was like this too, where it's like, but Ciara's not one to just naturally bring up someone's bad sides just to want to throw them in people's faces. That's the whole point where it's so embarrassing that Amanda has to be destroyed verbally by Ciara. It's because Ciara is not someone that just inherently and I feel like I feel that a lot of women relate to this, where you're a loyal person and you wouldn't intentionally just seek out wanting to have to give a terrible read on someone who you did care about a lot. But Ciara has been pushed to that point clearly in this situation, and that's what makes Amanda cry, how accurate Ciara is about Amanda being weak and being possibly a perfect fit for West. So then, why are you different, special? Amanda says those convos have happened with West, that they do apparently have something special, and that's why she's willing to be sitting next to him at the reunion. She felt embarrassed. This was the only moment that I thought, okay, Amanda, you're at least being a little bit of a human here and admitting this part. It's still very self-centered, because the most embarrassing part should have been that you're like telling Ciara that you're slapping her in the face by getting with West. That's the most embarrassing thing. Nevertheless, Amanda said that she felt embarrassed telling Ciara that she had kissed West and that she had feelings for him. And then Meija jumps in, and I love this, and she's like, well, yeah, it's embarrassing, and it is. Then that's when Amanda has to leave, at least the way that we see it. West is staying seated. They go, why are you sitting here, West? Why are you doing this? This is so funny, his answer, because again, people who are pathies, as Lindsay would say, are pathological liars, or have a history of being capable of lying when it's not a life or death scenario, because there are situations where some people have to lie to survive, and so no hate towards them, and I don't think they get bad karma for it. But Oh, he goes, I didn't know if the questions were going to come back to me. That's why he's saying he didn't go after Amanda. It's not because he can't handle conflict and has no emotional awareness and no, I guess he has emotional awareness in others. He can read people, but he doesn't have good emotional awareness. And yeah, so he says, I didn't know if the questions were going to come back to me. So he just didn't want to flee the hot seat, guys. It's not because he knew going to see Amanda would become the hot seat. So then people are just, sorry for that motorcycle. Lindsay talking about being in the hot seat. Oh yeah, this is exactly what I would feel as well, as someone who will go toe to toe with people verbally and try to explain my side as long as I get the chance to, and I'll let them say whatever they want, even though it might really hurt my feelings or make me frustrated and angry. That's what I like to have in conversations. But some people, like an Amanda, as we've seen, she always gets to run away, and that's why she is getting so much hate right now. And of course, again, I would never want, that's the, always knock on wood, that's the fear is, oh my god, I would never want Amanda to commit suicide or hurt herself, but I do want her to feel really bad, and I actually do want her to think about how she treats people and what she's done to Ciara, because she also fucks with people's mental health in a way that is frightening, and just there's so much about that. So yeah, Lindsay says she's never ran off the stage, and then she goes, Wes, go after your fucking girl, get up and go after her, Wes, be a fucking man. And of course, because Lindsay's speaking in a more stereotypically masculine way, Wes responds to that. So he says, just so you can tell me that we both left the stage. And then Kyle also says, go. He goes back to Amanda and displays his wonderful empathy and his ability to understand what his new situationship / girlfriend, if they've had these convos about how serious they feel for each other. He says, I guess we hear it from behind the door kind of thing. They're filming the door. And he says, if you have to cry on stage, cry on stage. So I think he's saying because as a sports person, I'm assuming he's used to a lot of pain. So that's why he just buckles down and turns his head down. He thinks this is, a football game where you just go, oh, I'm going to just grin and bear it. I can take it. But sometimes, it's requiring more or not if you'll let your current girlfriend / possible situationship take all the heat for you. So eventually Amanda comes back out, and then this is at the point where Ciara does say that line that I already quoted. She's historically had low self-esteem. I didn't lie. And when they were gone, we see that team meeting where they're, again, focusing on receipts and what really happened. It's normal to want to know, and they're doing a TV show. So I love to see the teamwork, and that's why, again, I don't like overt competition shows, because I believe these shows are all inherently competitive. As we see, I do believe West was competing with Kyle, and there's so many levels. So this is traitors, and yeah, West and Amanda, they're the traitors. So I love to see the teamwork of them coming together of like, this is my job, but also I want to know this because this affected me personally, and it's so many different things, and how much are they lying about. So them trying to organize what they're gonna say. And what happens then? Okay, so Kyle reached out to Meija, so West's girlfriend that he was lying about, and who he was dating while he was, again, having an emotional affair with Amanda last summer, as well as pulling Ciara back in, just for the fun of it. And so Kyle reached out to Meija out of curiosity, he said curiosity got the best of him. Then he shared that info with Ciara, and so they kind of went from there, and now Meija is seen FaceTiming with Ciara, and then Kyle comes into the room on the reunion, so we see that they're working together, and they can all appreciate that they're attractive, awesome people, and that it's nothing personal about them. That's what I guess it's good to see, because yeah, Meija is so beautiful too. It's hard to look at someone like that based on the reasons I tell myself. If I don't get treated well by someone, I'm like, okay, but this girl's so beautiful. So it shows, again, it's a whole other different thing that has nothing to do with looks, about why we'll tolerate people treating us poorly, or the types of people that treat people poorly. And Dara, okay, this is so cool. I love her so much, and I definitely would love to see her on Summer House season 11. That would be great. Dara, West. I was also listening to Carl's podcast More Life today with KJ, and KJ was admitting he was like completely broke, which was really comforting. Not that he had to go through that, but just because I'm basically almost completely broke. So knowing someone at that level, you watch them on Summer House, you kind of assume they at least have some good cash flow. But yeah, I would love to see KJ back on the show. It sounds like he would appreciate the money. So even if they're broken up, maybe they could still work together. So Dara, West, she calls West out for treating the women in his life as disposable, and West agrees. And she says the biggest pattern in West's life is that it will be the West show always. He does not prioritize treating women that he is linked to romantically with the same respect he treats everybody else in his life. And she said he's looking for a woman that will mold and fold to his life. So I said mold and fold is the new, like, she'll be your bitch, or, you know, I mean, P-whipped is usually more against guys, but you know what I'm saying. So mold and fold, loved that she came up with her own tagline, like, please keep doing this, make your lines, get them ready, make your points. Like, this is the court of Bravo, so I love that Dara came prepared. And yeah, so she's implying, of course, that, hey, Amanda, are you going to do what you did with Kyle? Repress all this anger. She didn't say this, but to me, I'm saying this, you know, the subtext is, are you going to repress all this anger again with a guy who just wants to go out and party and not do what you want to do, which is be at home, build all this resentment again? You know, this guy is going to want you to just totally go into his life, and that's it. And he's not going to respect you because you're dating him. And so seeing Amanda, she's so reactionless, so it's really hard to know what she was thinking. And then we see Amanda's talking about how everybody is weirdly flirtatious and inappropriate with each other. I agree with that. Yeah, I am not a touchy-feely person. If I'm dating someone, I am. But yes, it's very hard to understand their dynamics. But that's part of what they use to hide in plain sight. So it still is just like, this doesn't justify or explain anything about what we have issues with you doing. And Amanda was talking about how she would never have monetized, because I think it was about Lindsay and Carl coming together for the Uber Eats ad, and Amanda, because, you know, she has such strong morals and ethics. That's what we see, is she just, the bar for Amanda is very, very high, right, compared to other people. So she says, I would never have done that to them during their breakup from, I guess, end of season 8. Don't know about that one, but that's just Amanda for you. She keeps judging them for tiny things, but then wants them to be, oh, this is what I think, is she keeps judging all the other people in the cast for tiny things, and we see that throughout all the different seasons, but then she really wants them, and Ciara in particular, to be easygoing about this giant level of deception. And that's, again, where there's this, I'd say, I guess, cognitive dissonance, where she doesn't notice, okay, so now you're nitpicking over this little thing, but you still have not even fully apologized in any way, shape, or form for this massive betrayal that you've done to Ciara, lying to her. And also this affects Kyle and his friendship with West. There's so many levels that affect all the dynamics in the house as a result of this. It's not an affair, because in that way, but it's this deception that affects, that they know everybody would want to know about. Then something's happening there. So yeah, Ciara goes, okay, after Amanda's acting like she's better than Lindsay because she's saying, oh, I wouldn't have monetized, you know, making a profit off of the end of your relationship or your relationship. So then Ciara gives, again, such a good burn. You would never monetize something, but you would fuck your friend's ex. And then, yeah, so we don't know what Amanda's ethics and morals are, or if she has any. Then Amanda and Lindsay are kind of going back at it. So Lindsay goes, I've been here for 10 years. I can do whatever the fuck I want. And then Amanda, because again, she does see herself as that OG, and it shows how much she wanted to be on the show first season. That she's like, I've been here since the beginning, bitch, too. I've been here for 10 years, too. And then we get to see the scene with, like, West moving his chair. Why? He says it was Ciara and Lindsay were riling Kyle up, but he kept seeing Kyle take out his anger on Amanda. He either is blind to subtleties or he chooses not to see them, because, again, there are men, and I think he's an example of one, where he doesn't know what passive aggression looks like in women, and it's pretty much, if a woman acts like Amanda, she is really weak. She's not capable of using those traits to manipulate someone into thinking she needs help and to making people fight her battles, but that's what we think has been done. So we're watching all these different things, and his explaining we're not really buying it. It's like, I think you wanted to hook up with her, but that's just my opinion on why you suddenly stepped up. And you want, and the character arc of looking like the good guy, stopping Kyle verbally abusing his wife, and he's going to be then taking over Kyle's spot if he can challenge Kyle effectively, because the other guys haven't managed to do that. So we've got that possibility, which makes, the clout chaser thing that Lindsay was saying to him, because I do agree that I think he looks at people as opportunities, and he is like, I'll deal with their emotional reactions later, as long as it's not illegal or too looked down upon socially. But he doesn't know what is or is not looked down upon socially because he has no morals. But yeah, I think he's like, whatever. So Kyle, then they're showing Kyle being a terrible, verbally abusive person at that point. He's like, it makes me look like an abusive husband. It's like, well, there's a huge range of what is abusive. Do I ever say mean things in an argument as well? Yeah. And do I scream like that in front of a bunch of people while wasted at someone I'm dating? No. So I guess no, I haven't done that. But yes, I don't. There's moments that I'm not proud of. I think we all have those moments. Kyle's are caught on camera, and yeah, some of them are just very disturbing this season. So that's why we were cheering Amanda on. But when we are comparing, yeah, I guess there was something worse than that could have been done because Amanda's doing it right now. So Kyle does try to say, it's not okay that I screamed at Amanda and told her to F off, whatever. But then he says, hurt people. And I was like, why is Kyle saying this? This takes away his whole case because I hate when it's a deflection when people say hurt. It is true. Yes, hurt people. If you're feeling great and on cloud nine, you're not going to react. But I mean, I guess you could if that does bring your mood down. But so that was like then Andy's like, you can't defend it. So I love that Andy said you can't defend it. Kyle got the message temporarily again. He shouldn't be defending it at all though, but he's like, yeah, sorry, that was wrong. I can't defend how I was speaking to her. So this was the first time that Amanda felt that a guy stood up in the house for her. It was Wes. So he's her knight in shining armor. She is his damsel in distress. And as Ciara saying, maybe, and what Dara is contributing of, he wants someone who can mold and fold. So maybe it is perfect thing. She wanted someone to go up to him man to man. Like, Amanda is a tradway from the 1940s, 50s. So Kyle's like, excuse me, you're a guy who's never been in a relationship your entire life. Like, who are you right now, Wes, to jump in and tell me what to do? They bring up the Wolf of Wall Street moment that when I didn't even remember that Wes was making fun of Kyle giving Amanda that Cartier watch for her birthday, where it was done at the birthday dinner, and I guess Kyle has traditionally not given presents, or he sucked at presents, or that's something he's failed at, and he gives Amanda the watch, and she's, thank you so much. Wes later in his confessional is saying, he's also referring to women as hookers, not sex workers, which is the appropriate language at this point in time. I don't even know if I'm allowed to say hookers out loud anymore. Maybe that's not even okay, but that's what West was saying about women. He's saying that a man who is buying a present like that, he's probably cheating all the time, and he's probably, let's see what the quote was there. Oh yeah, he goes, nice gift. It's prob because they're prob cheating in every other way possible on a yacht, that they have hookers on a yacht and they're cheating. So, okay. And Amanda says, they're like, now you love going out late. You hated when Kyle did that. Why do you love to do that now? This makes no sense. The thing that was one of the hugest issues, if not the hugest, well, beyond the cheating, the second biggest issue in your relationship with Kyle. Now you're out with this guy who's like an even bigger partier. I think Kyle said it was a young Kyle on steroids is how he was describing West, which is kind of hilarious because Kyle is hilarious. And yeah, so she's saying, I'm single. And then she just said, I don't hate going out. I just hated going out with Kyle. So making Kyle tears up. But that is fair because you're a blackout drinker. You struggle with substance abuse issues. I do believe when someone is struggling, I don't know why I have to label it something different when it's like we've seen it happen over and over and over and over again on camera. I guess because there is additional stigma. But, you know, if you saw someone have an allergic reaction to something on camera, you wouldn't be like, oh, they're not having an anaphylactic shock. You would say that. That's what I think a lot of Kyle's behavior is attributed to is the abuse of alcohol and the overconsumption of alcohol. So Amanda does have a very valid point in saying, I didn't want to go out with Kyle because he'd get wasted, but I don't believe that's not why she really wanted. I think she is a pretty big homebody. I'm a big homebody. I do not want to be out and about. Like, I was out for maybe 3 hours last night, maybe more, 3 hours, 15 minutes. That was a lot. Like, I'm still tired from it. Socializing. So yeah, Amanda, I'm like you. But then I don't want to pretend that I want to go out and party all the time. So that's what's going to get more and more tiresome for sure. I think maybe this is a whole new Amanda and maybe she won't get tired. We'll see what's going down. So yeah, she hurts Kyle again. Kyle said, you know, he's the most fraudulent person I've ever met. So like, shut the F up. That's when Kyle really could tell was angry. They reveal that this was shocking. Apparently they have not had sex for the entirety of their marriage. This blows my mind. I never thought they would both say this. I cannot believe they have not had sex for 4 years. Like, that is say that blows my mind. I would have never bet on that as being the truth. So whoa, that's just wild. They admit that they split the day that their statement was released, and that Kyle felt a lot of pressure from Amanda. He said he wasn't able to tell his family about it yet, that she wanted to put out a statement that they were done. Bravo PR had been involved because she didn't want people to see Kyle treat her so badly on the show this season. That's why she needed it to come out so fast on January 19th. But why I find that suspicious, and I don't think I'm alone in thinking, but Amanda, maybe this was your breaking point and this was the final season. You didn't want people to see you being spoken to or treated really badly by Kyle, but you already had been treated really badly by Kyle for the previous 9 seasons. So was that the sudden turnaround? Or was it that, again, this thing was building with West and you're not giving us honest timelines yet? So I guess that's what I'd really like to see next week, is what is going to happen. And there's still so much to be answered in terms of, I hope they break a little more. I hope Amanda genuinely apologizes for an actual second. I hope West has to answer to Kyle more. And I don't know if we'll get the answers, but I like what I've seen so far, but I'm really building up to that final one. So thanks so much for listening. Again, thank you if you came into the event in Vancouver last night. Hope to see you at the final one next week. If you're listening to this, really appreciate it. Follow me on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or YouTube. Have a great night, and see you next Tuesday when we're listening and watching the next episode. It will be recorded on Wednesday, but we'll be watching it Tuesday. Have a good night.